Would you believe that this beautifully scaped aquarium all started with a simple walk through my yard? Just yesterday, I had finished filming what turned out to be one of my favorite builds so far, our 40-gallon breeder, freshly transformed into a lush, layered world for our gold guppies. The tank looked great, the guppies were thriving, and I've even caught myself sitting in front of it a few extra times just to watch the way the plants swayed and the fish interacted with their new environment. But with that project wrapped and posted, I felt that familiar itch. What now? So I did what I usually do when I need inspiration. I wondered. There's something about walking around my yard, especially here in the fish room garden, that clears my mind. Surrounded by the sounds of water filters humming, birds chirping overhead, and the occasional buzz of a hummingbird passing by, it's the perfect backdrop to let ideas come in on their own time. I wasn't even actively searching, just sort of aimlessly stepping around when something caught my eye. Something that pulled my focus just enough to make me stop mid-step. But before I could go investigate, I felt the unmistakable presence of a familiar companion brushing against my leg. Porkchop. My dog. My shadow. My yard manager, if you will. There he was, lying completely sprawled out on the sun-warmed grass, soaking up the heat like a lizard. I couldn't help but stop and give him a little scratch behind the ears. He looked way too content for me to pass him by. And then, of course, like clockwork, my cat strolled in. No fanfare, no rush. She made her way over like she had something important to contribute, sniffed Porkchop, rubbed against my leg, and then sat beside us like she had every right to be part of this brainstorming session. At this point, I had to laugh. Okay guys, love the support, but this is still an aquarium channel. Time to get back to business. I turned my attention back to the object that had caught my eye. Nestled in the corner of my compost heap was the bleached out remains of a rosemary bush I had pulled out months ago. The desert sun had worked its magic. What was once a tangle of woody branches and fragrant herbs was now a clean, bone-dry piece of twisted driftwood. Its shape was incredible, sharp angles, strange curves, natural beauty. Right then, I had a thought. This might just work as the centerpiece for a new tank. I carefully cut off one of the branches, something manageable in size, and gave it a quick trim right there on the spot. It had promise. The textures, the weight, even the slight color variation from where the sun had hit it more directly. This wasn't just scrap. This was potential. Back at one of my spare tanks, one I had recently water changed off camera, I started fitting the piece in. Now, I'll be honest, it's rare that the first branch you try works right away, but in this case, it almost did. I placed it in different orientations, vertical, leaning, partially buried, and while it looked cool, it still felt empty. The tank needed more, so I went back out to the rosemary stump, this time really looking it over. I turned it over, checked the buried parts, and eventually found another suitable branch. Thicker this time, more of a curve than a twist. It had that sculptural quality that catches the eye and invites fish to swim through it. I brought it back over to my work area and began trimming it down, same process as before. But after I brought it back to the tank, I realized I'd overestimated the space. It was too big, not by much, but enough that it disrupted the balance I was trying to achieve. No worries, this is why we measure. Out came the tape, and I got precise with what I needed to shave off. A few careful cuts later, and the branch was a perfect fit. It nestled into the first branch like they belonged together, like two pieces of a submerged forest long forgotten. Now that the hardscape was finally coming together, it was time for greenery. From our last project, I had 4 leftover Amazon sword plants, still strong, still vibrant. Rather than let them sit in another holding tank, I decided they'd go right into this scape. I spaced them out evenly across the middle ground of the tank, letting their broad leaves peek up wherever they may be. Each one got a root tab to help it get settled. Those little nutrient bombs really make a difference in the long run. And as for the rest of the tank, I left it open, for now. Just clean substrate, inviting, empty, full of potential. I've been thinking about adding something else here, but I would love to hear what you guys have for ideas. What would you plant here? Let me know in the comments. I always love hearing your ideas. With the wood in place, the plants settled, and the design balanced, it was time to wait. I stepped away and let the tank do its thing for a few hours. Water needed to settle, particles needed to clear, and the overall feel of the tank needed time to reveal itself. When I came back later, the next day, I knew we had something special. The tank looked serene. The rosemary branches had darkened just a little, soaking in the water, and the sword plants stood tall and proud. It was time for the final step, adding life. I headed over to one of our holding tanks and began looking through our Red Mosaic Dragon guppies. These fish are stunning, metallic reds and striking tails. I picked up one male who had a particularly bold pattern, and then selected a group of healthy females to form his harem. Watching them enter their new home was deeply satisfying. The male immediately began exploring, weaving between branches, testing the flow. The female spread out, some curiously investigating the hardscape, others grazing on debris within the fresh substrate. Within minutes, it was as if they had always lived there. And just like that, a forgotten branch in the compost pile had become the heart of an aquascape. Proof, once again, that inspiration can come from the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this build and want to try something similar, check out our website. We offer homegrown fish, plants, and sometimes supplies, all raised right here in our outdoor fish room by hand and with care. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy fish keeping. If you made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate that you watched till the end. It makes a huge difference on YouTube analytics and promoting our videos to more people. That being said, please do check out our website if you have any questions on any of the content I cover in my videos. I have everything I talk about in video and lots more under the guides section on our website, bishopaquatics.com. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.